Hey everybody, on this episode of Crying in My Car, I get humbled out on the golf course and then James humbles me in the studio. And then we are going to talk about drug-sniffing dogs being used towards teachers. And lastly, your teachers are being pranked and also they are pranking each other. Tune in and find out all the excitement we talk about on this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Hey everybody, this is Devin Siebold. This is Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. I've got my good buddy, Mr. James Yon.
How we doing?
And we're here with you, celebrating a new year and enjoying, hopefully providing some laughter to you, some much-needed laughter to get you through to that spring break, I guess that's what you call it.
That's what you call it.
And I hope that you can return the favor by liking this video, commenting, subscribing, sharing out, letting people know, hey, I listen to Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, and it's quite possibly the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. James,
I would agree.
James,
I'm a little biased, but I will say it's utterly amazing. And
Yes.
that's just not my words. That's my mother's words.
right,
So
talk about me.
That's right. And Devin is amazing. He's the best host that you'll ever see on this show.
We have 44 minutes to fill. Keep
That's
going.
right. I won't stop, guys, because he won't stop. Because he's tirelessly.
I'm just kidding.
That's great,
I
man.
need it, though. I need the mental boost because I was defeated today.
Oh,
I
what
was
happened,
defeated
buddy?
today.
Come on.
I went to golf, okay? And
Oh.
no, I'm a good golfer, James. You can't just react to that.
well.
That was rude. That was rude.
Of course, you're a great golfer, sir.
Yeah, I'm a very good golfer.
Yes.
And but I got out there to golf, and my friend Tom and I are golfing, and it's a very nice course, just the Winter Park 9-hole golf course,
Ooh, now.
the city's golf course, beautiful course, very cheap,
Yeah.
nice to play. Only 9 holes, short course, but,
Short and sweet.
Yes, but what I'm saying is we were paired with 2 people, and there were 2 singles. So it was a person that wanted to play golf by themselves, another person wanted to play golf.
Okay.
Went out as a foursome.
Okay.
One of the guys was a very tall gentleman, and he was very fun to play with. Good, cool dude.
Okay.
Probably slightly younger than me, you know.
Okay.
And we got around to like the 3rd, 4th hole, and I go, so what do you do? And he goes, oh, I'm a math teacher. And I go, oh. I said, so you maybe have seen some work?
Yeah.
And I was like, I sign autographs after hole 6. Got to get warm first.
That's true.
And I go, have you watched any of my videos? And he goes, oh, videos? He goes, well, like on YouTube or something? I go, yeah, YouTube. And he goes, well, that's all trash. And I was like, yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I suppose so. And he goes, no, I don't watch any of that trash. And he was like literally
Said
talking
it
about,
again.
yeah. And I go, no, well, I'm on TikTok and stuff too. He goes, yeah, I don't do any of that.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, all right, well.
Let me tell everybody at home, never let social media become your entire personality.
I'm literally sitting there going, what else do I have?
Yeah.
I have nothing.
I'm a loving father.
Do you podcast? I've got podcasts. You can come by my house. I'll play some videos on my TV for you.
You know what would have been absolutely hilarious?
What was that?
If you would have mentioned, I do a podcast with a guy named James Yon. James Yon?
I know James. I know James. I love
He's
James.
hilarious.
Rest
He's
assured
fired.
there would be a different co-host today. I would have fired you before I showed up.
That's right.
No, but
it's not working out.
I thought, this guy.
Of course.
And then, of course, as we're going, I tried to I don't know, you try to drop some gems on him, and I threw a few jokes his way. He was like, and I was like, oh, okay. And I found myself hole after hole, trying to impress this guy, and because my golf game was not, and
it wasn't going so
I was
well.
like, maybe he'll be a fan, maybe he'll come, and he's like, so do you do stand up in rooms and stuff? I said, well, I'm at the Dr. Phillips Center in February. He goes, well, that's neat. And I was like, that's neat. He's 100 people.
Well, Where is he a math teacher on Mars?
I don't know.
He's
I was like, what is this guy's deal?
It's so funny.
I was
you were trying to
defeated.
impress him more than your wife.
I was. He's like, so are you married? I'm like, I don't, what?
What?
Why?
No, I'm available.
You looking? Or I don't know.
Can I just make a what do you call it? A confession as a comedian. Yeah. We're funny. And we know we're funny, right? So if we're out and about and we're with people and we crack a joke and they don't laugh, we're like, what is wrong with these people?
Obviously, a psycho.
Yeah. Serial killer? Like, why are you not?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's always telling. It's like when you do comedy, you go and you perform, and it's so funny because I've done this, okay? So I've been on stage. Liz on the Board Teachers Show will have gone out. Mike Rivera will have gone out. Andrea will have gone out. And then I go out.
Yeah.
And I get off stage and Casey will go, so how was it? And I'll go, it was great, but there's this one guy.
Why do we
and
do
he's 10 rows back on the left. And he's got his arms crossed. And he just looks mad. And I couldn't break him.
Yep.
And literally, I'll go into the green room and they'll be like, did you break the guy in the 10th row with his arms crossed? Four people to the left with the gray T-shirt and the glasses. And every comic will know exactly who I'm talking about because we'll have 1,800 people in front of us.
Yes.
And it's the one that makes it $17.99 that enjoy the show that you're sitting there going, well, I need to rethink my whole career.
Yeah, everyone. 1,799 people laughing. That one guy will be like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, it's kind of, if you wanted to relate it to teaching, it's like the one student that falls asleep during the SAT exam. You're like, they're going to bring down my whole average.
you wake up. You take their test and start filling it out yourself.
I know. I had to walk down to this guy. Do you get the jokes?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Is this?
There's a premise and a punchline.
Is this a stroke situation?
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I'm saying the words and you're not processing how funny these are.
Right. Do you hate comedy? Is that it?
Yeah. And then he's like, no, YouTube is trash. And I'm like, it's you.
So what you're telling us in a long story form is you murdered this man.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
No, I tried so hard to make him laugh.
That's so funny.
And tried to be friends with him. And he was resistant. He was in his own lane. And I don't know if it was the whole, oh, you're a social studies teacher and I'm a math teacher. And if there was like a hierarchy. And there is, when I do think about it, there is a minor hierarchy in teaching.
We never talked about this, and I was wondering this. This is interesting.
I think there's a hierarchy.
We stumbled
in
into a really good topic.
Yeah, I think there's a hierarchy.
Tell me about a hierarchy.
I think the math teachers are up there.
Gotcha.
Because that to me is like a whole level of intelligence that I can't even help my students with.
Okay.
And they come and they're like, yeah, I'm having trouble in math. I'm like, well, that stinks. I'll see you next year because I can't help you pass. I got nothing, buddy. All right. And then there's below that, I think is probably, if I had to rank, I'd probably say the English teachers because it's just such an in-demand subject, and it's very hard to get through to the kids. And there's 4 years of that.
Yes,
the other ones only require, I think, 3 credits to graduate.
And everybody has to write a thesis before they actually go.
Yeah, well, not anymore, but yes.
They don't make that's not a thing anymore.
Now, I mean, unless you're getting your doctorate, then you got to do something like that. But the below that, I would say foreign language teachers. I think that requires a level of patience and
even before
understanding.
Social studies.
So I love social studies teachers.
Yeah.
I was a social studies teacher for a long time.
Yeah.
To me, social studies is one of the easiest subjects to teach because it's naturally something the students are interested in. Everybody always says, my favorite teacher was social studies. You hear that all the time.
That is true.
And the reason they all say that is not necessarily that their favorite teacher was social studies. It's one of the easiest subjects to grasp.
It is.
Because it's just history, it's events, it's things that are very relevant to them. The Pythagorean theorem is not as relevant to kids, and it takes a whole different person to get that across.
But it's funny and interesting the fact that you just listed all those top ones, and you haven't even listed 2 of the biggest ones yet.
What's that?
History.
Yeah.
Social studies.
Yeah.
Well,
science.
Science. Yeah.
Science is up there too. I would maybe tie science with
It depends on which science.
Yeah, because some science, earth science and chemistry are, to me, two different nights and days.
Yes, absolutely.
Like chemistry is hard.
Bruh.
Earth science is like, oh, fossils, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're like, oh.
By the way, hate mail for that comment goes to @Devin Siebold on Instagram, because
they're about to go crazy.
There's earth science teachers that are like, fossils.
Yes. No wonder he didn't think you were funny.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
And then I love it. I'm getting so much flack for this. James, you walked me into this.
I did.
I think at the bottom, not in the bottom, but towards the bottom, I would put gym teacher. And it's it's not that I disrespect gym teachers. I have substituted for gym classes before. It is very, very hard. It's also very enjoyable. And the kids naturally really do enjoy gym.
Most kids.
There is, I think, a tier of gym class that has not been discussed really, and that's the fact that most gym teachers do have to incorporate health science into their actual curriculum now.
Yes.
It's not just go out there and play. People think it's go out there and play basketball, go out there and play football, go out there and play tennis. There's a science to it, and they have to actually cover that. And some schools even test gym. They
did it when I was in gym.
Yeah, so to do that, I think is exceeding hard. And by the way, I've called it gym teacher several times just to make the angry gym teacher just hate me. No, I by the way, @angry gym teacher on Instagram. I love the guy. He's on the board teachers comedy tour. He always says, I hate when they call it gym teacher. I'm purposely doing it to anger the gym teachers right now.
What's the correct pronunciation?
It's PE teacher. It's physical education.
They do
teacher.
like PE teacher.
Yeah, it's physical education.
Yes, okay.
That gives you some credibility. It's not you're not teaching gym.
Gotcha. You need teacher cred.
They're not in the gym.
They're
all
not
the time.
no, they're not.
Yeah,
but they do have those bicycle shorts.
They do have the bicycle shorts,
the short little
and the whistle.
The whistle,
and the T-shirt.
They do
the same white T-shirt
over and over
every
again.
day.
And that's what they wear. They got like 5 of those.
Yeah.
Same red shorts that they get at every PE teacher.
Yeah, PE teacher convention. Yeah. It's just hand out your red shorts. There they are.
There is an unsung hero, a teacher that we don't talk about at all, and they're actually one of the teachers that are preparing our young kids for actual life on their own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Home ec.
Home ec, we don't have that anymore.
Yep, they have a
Florida.
Yeah,
done.
Gotcha.
I like the arts and stuff like
that.
I
took that myself.
Home ec, I thought, was a fantastic course. It was. What happened was you have way too much concentration on the cores and not enough concentration on the extracurricular anymore. And the extracurricular they see as costing more money. The art classes have a lot of supplies. The home ec, a lot of supplies and a lot of liability, a lot of insurance, a lot of things like that that schools just kind of brushed off and said, you know what, let's put them back and head into a book. And it's not preparing them for life.
Well, I was going to say that the reason I do like home ec because it did prepare people for life. I took home ec and that's what sparked my interest to become a chef.
Yeah.
And it was a great living. I made really good money doing it. It's just one of the things that we don't focus on when it comes to education.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Not only just being a chef, but cooking for yourself in an age where you have to cook for yourself
because it is expensive
to survive.
Yes, absolutely.
Cooking for your family is way more affordable if you do it right.
That's right,
and if you do it well.
Yes,
and learning those skills. There's things I can sew. And like tearing some, a piece of a shirt, it's like, oh, I can repair that. I can do it myself.
You just freaked out a bunch of young people. Like, you don't just throw the shirt away.
No. In fact, you see me wear several of the same shirts on here.
Amen. Yeah.
I'm not a wide array of shirts kind of guy, but I can repair it. And there you go. Keep wearing it.
Do laundry.
Yeah.
Ooh,
things like that. No, but home skills are needed.
Yes.
And that's the thing is home skills, we don't teach home skills. And not having home skills costs a lot more money. Because I'll tell you right now, those kids ordering out on Uber Eats.
Bro.
I ordered Uber Eats when I was in one of the shows.
It is expensive.
I ordered a single large coffee. Single large coffee from Starbucks. After the cost, the delivery fees, and the tip, it came out to, and I'm not making this up, $21
for a
single cup of coffee.
Okay. 2 questions. First, how good was the coffee? And 2, who did you get to co-sign for that loan?
No, right? But that was the only way I could get it, and Starbucks was too far from our venue
for you to go down there and get it.
I get headaches if I don't have an afternoon cup of coffee.
I'm with you.
And if we're in a hotel room that doesn't have the good coffees, then I gotta get it from somewhere else, and that was it.
You just said it too, man. As comedians, when we go to different hotels, not all coffee makers and hotels were created equal.
No,
not at all.
Some weren't created this century.
That's right. That's right. If you go there and it still has the old-fashioned pot, and not the one button, it's not going to be good.
Right. But you do have to run it 3 or 4 times just to get the zinc out of the line.
You do.
But yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not trying to undermine teachers in any sort of way on the hierarchy things. It's what I think when I think of teachers that work the hardest, teachers that have the most, and I'm just taking subject level. I'm not taking a grade level thing, because the grade level thing's completely different.
It is.
But subject level, I don't know why. I always think math teachers of being like the absolute smartest, to hold people's attention, to get the numbers through. I mean,
it's not easy.
I sit there with my kid with his math homework, and I struggle to get a point across to them. And there's 20 kids plus in your class.
That's right.
How you do that? I don't know.
God bless you.
Let
me ask you about one more teacher before we move on. Where do you rank the driver's ed teacher?
Lowest of the low.
That quick.
I mean, you're driving in circles, bro. No.
To be honest, I've seen a lot of these kids driving.
Yeah. Well, my sister, I love her, but she can't drive at all. She's terrible. Yeah, I feel like if I had to, when I get in the car with her, I'm terrified.
Really?
But if you had to do that every day with students and you're risking your life, okay, maybe we'll put you up there a little bit. But I'm not saying bad things about the driver's ed. I think all teachers are on a pedestal up here.
But you're just saying where you think they rank.
Yeah, it's like ranking the Olympic medalists.
There you go.
It's like you already did get to the top. You work hard. I love you to death. But I'd give you a bronze.
Gotcha.
I don't think a driver's ed is going to work as hard as a physics teacher. I think that there's a different level, and I think some of them would probably agree. Not the ones messaging me right now.
No, yeah.
But most of them.
But let's ask, because I think this is a really good topic.
Sure.
All you teachers out there, where would you rank subjects? Not an actual teacher, their personality or anything like that, but where would you rank people who teach different subjects from top to bottom?
Yeah.
I would love to know.
And I want to say I'm not ranking people individually.
No.
Because I will say there are lazy math teachers out there that phone it in, that go, read the next chapter, do this, and that are not good teachers. And there are people that excel at driver's ed and are masterful teachers at what they do. So, I mean, it depends on how much work ethic you put into.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I think I'm just ranking the subjects.
Gotcha.
All right, you ready to jump into the teachers in the news, my friend?
My favorite thing.
There are a few interesting stories being found around the nation with the Israel-Palestine situation that is going on over in the Middle East. Now, here's the thing, is that we're finding teachers taking certain sides. We're also finding the public taking certain sides, students taking certain sides. I saw in Oregon, there was an actual I don't know if it would call it like a walkout, maybe. I don't know what they did, but there was a protest in support of Palestine. Okay, there was teachers that actually took part in a protest for Palestine
At school.
I don't know. I think it was. Now that was in Oregon, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't have that one up here, but I do have this one. So you have people that are staging walkouts. You have protests that are being engaged, and then sometimes you have some schools that take it to another level. And I'm not sure this is the level we want to get on, but a Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization has gone ahead and filed a discrimination complaint against Montgomery County Public Schools. Apparently, there was a middle school teacher who was put on leave. And it wasn't a walkout. It wasn't remember we talked about one that had done a public protest?
Yes.
This one is just simply due to her pro-Palestinian email signature. In her emails, she apparently had an email signature that expressed support for Palestinians. and was sending out emails, and they went ahead and the middle school put her on administrative leave, and now there is a lawsuit with a Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization that is saying, we are suing you. You can't discriminate based on beliefs in this manner. This is just an email signature. It's harmless. So again, I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's very difficult for teachers nowadays. And this is just one particular instance. I think it's much more scary when you look at the broader view of this. To have personal opinions.
Well, let me ask this. Let me just kind of break it down so I can make sure I understand.
Okay.
She had a signature, electronic signature on her emails that she was writing.
Yes.
And it was pro-Palestine.
Pro-Palestine.
Okay, so let me try to relate it to something that people may be more familiar with here. Mm-hmm. Would that be the equivalent of someone that had an email signature that was pro-Democrat or pro-Republican?
And I've seen stuff like that in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's hard to compare those two situations.
I know it's not apples to apples, but I'm kind of wrapping my head around it.
But you're saying expressing a personal, possibly conflicting point of view in an email signature.
Yes.
Yeah.
A political one.
Yeah,
yes.
A political statement in an email signature. That's hard. And it all depends on where you live. I mean, the wild thing is that we have this teacher who was put on leave for an email signature, and then over on the West Coast, we have teachers that were able to stage a legitimate protest. Mm-hmm. And probably went right back into the classroom, right after that.
Right after that. Just
and so then it's like, and they make the news as, look at these teachers standing up for what they believe in. And then over on the East Coast and the South, it's like, look at that teacher for even thinking about and expressing beliefs in what they believe in.
Gotcha.
So it's very difficult way to play it, and especially, with the way social media travels. Because once something like this gets on social media,
especially with that subject.
It's such a touchy subject.
Yeah,
and it's hard for teachers though to express any personal views on this matter. That's the thing is you can be very very passionate about it. Maybe you are Palestinian. Maybe you are Jewish. Maybe you have family in Israel. Maybe you have family in the West Bank and Gaza. Maybe you have there's things that you have to be passionate about because it's something that is internalized with you and who you are.
And I'm with you.
But putting it into a signature, suddenly they're on leave. I mean, that's hard. That's a hard one to.
But I'm trying to think. Did they say in the story itself what's the basis?
No.
Because what is it based on? What rule or what?
It says just a complaint was lodged, and apparently this teacher is of Egyptian origin and was placed on leave just because of their signature. So somebody got an email from them, said, excuse me, no, and filed a complaint, and they placed her on leave. Now, they haven't taken any action beyond that, firing or anything like that. I doubt they will, especially with the lawsuit now.
I was going to say.
But, I don't know. It's just something that... to me, it's like, man, you really can't, as a teacher, express any personal points of view on anything that is controversial.
Yes. No, you can't. And especially nowadays, even more so nowadays than any other time I think we've ever encountered, everything is a hot button or everything is a buzzword or something that just sets people off that you can't. As a teacher, like you talked about many, many times, that's why so many people have their Instagrams or Facebooks set to private.
Yeah,
because it's just if it's, even if you look at my own private account, something might get somebody upset.
I'm gonna take this to a little side note too. Mm-hmm. Of you said how it's just a hot button keyword will trigger something. Mm-hmm. I mean, even on like Facebook and stuff, I did a recent video called The State of Teaching. I've got my State of Teaching series out. And my first State of Teaching video, I posted on my Facebook, and I said, State of Teaching, Episode 1, Violence in Schools. It got immediately flagged by AI or the logarithms or whatever. My video, I have 265,000 followers, and my video got literally 400 views in 24 hours because it tanked my video. It refused to put it on any news feeds or anything. And that should worry people because my video was not actually violence in schools.
No.
My video was trying to express the problem of and how to solve violence in schools.
Yes, it was.
And they still threw it in the basket of this is bad. Nobody needs to see it. Let's bottle this up and suppress it. And they suppress that information. And that's concerning because when we need information as a society, when we need to divulge points of view and say positive or negative, and we need to have constructive arguments, it should all be out there. And it should not be up to a social media conglomerate to tell us what we can and can't see.
I understand.
I am pro free speech all the way.
All day.
And I think if you throw out hate and you throw out terrible things, if I would have put out a video that was pro violence in schools, you know what? The court of public opinion should absolutely bring me down. You know, but I think you should give them a chance to see and make a judgment call for themselves. Yeah. All right, next line. This one is a positive story. I wanted to go heavy into positive. I like the positives. A Buffalo public school teacher helped save a woman's life after a crash on I-90 South. Science teacher and coach at the Emerson School of Hospitality had his car... Oh, it's the Emerson School of Hospitality. Oh, man. If he's a home ec teacher, we were just sitting here going, yeah, bottom of the bottom. And then this guy saved somebody's life. Anyways, he's a teacher at the Emerson School of Hospitality, and apparently he had his car clipped by a vehicle driving erratically, and then he followed the car and soon realized something was wrong. And he went, at first he was frustration and mad, and ended up going, wait, somebody's having some sort of medical emergency. They needed help. He watched the car cross multiple lanes. It struck the barrier, and once the car had crashed into the median, apparently he pulled his car over and began to administer CPR on the female victim and saved her.
All right, come on. That's worth.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so that's
Nice.
huge. She's in stable condition. Apparently, this was a drug overdose, unfortunately. Hopefully, this person uses this opportunity to change their life around and go, wow, that could have been way worse. And so, but his heroic acts saved her, gave her a second chance at life, and they consider him a hero. And he said, I'm just a regular guy. I'm a teacher. I'm just trying to do what anyone would do for my loved ones, I hope.
Nice.
Yeah. So good news, and thank you for your heroic efforts. We do appreciate you. Yeah. So, but James Damon is his name. I wanted to make sure I said his name. James.
Of course,
Damon.
his name is James. That's what we do.
James Damon.
Yes.
That sounds very movie star.
It does.
All right. Back to a sad news.
Oh no!
Sorry, I'm trying.
Back and forth.
I'm just going with what the
it's an
news
emotional
cycle says.
roller coaster with you, Devin.
Yeah. Well, there was a beloved middle school teacher in downtown Atlanta 2 months ago that was actually, unfortunately, gunned down in the middle of downtown Atlanta, and they had not found the culprit. Finally, they found him. They arrested him. They said that it must have been an altercation that led to the death of a computer science teacher at Marietta Middle School. Apparently, he was shot, died from his injuries in downtown Atlanta. Very sad to hear, because apparently it was an altercation, and this homeless person took it upon themselves to end somebody's life. The students were obviously very distraught, says their favorite teacher, and man, it really stinks to see stuff like that. Well, I'm glad that they found the person that did it.
Absolutely.
Hopefully this person gets some help, and because it looked like they had some mental issues, and hopefully the family gets some closure now that they know what happened and who did it. Now,
thoughts and prayers.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Florida private school teacher, boy, oh boy, this one I had to read a few times. This private school teacher decided to have a relationship with a student. I know. Now, he was apparently 21 and apparently met this student where apparently he was a teacher. And it's a 15-year-old girl. And this is the thing. This is the thing that just baffled me. I mean, this guy apparently helped her cut off her ankle bracelet because she was on probation. What? And then tried to help her get away. And that first off, if there's an ankle bracelet, that's what?
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, but golly, apparently this kid was being monitored by the police because of probation. And then apparently he convinced her to cut off the ankle monitor and tried to harbor her safely. And Yeah, that's terrible. But I'm sitting
There's
here
so
and I'm
many
reading it.
bad decisions.
So many bad decisions.
Ugh.
Do not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also read it and I think to myself, some of these teachers are too young.
You think so?
Yeah. One of the problems that I keep seeing is with these and this is not the case here, but I've seen it a few times. So I wanted to bring this up just because I've seen this a lot. The guy was 21.
What?
Yeah.
That's young.
21 is young. I was 21 when I first started teaching.
I know. That's why I was going to bring it up.
Yeah, I was very young. And I
Yes.
still think it was too young to be teaching high school.
You think that?
Yes. Now, I had an advantage in the sense that I didn't know anybody where I taught.
Makes
So
sense.
I started teaching in high school, knew nobody. Some of these, I think we're asking for trouble with some of these grow your own initiatives because we have these kids that we go, here's how you become a teacher
Yeah.
while they're still in school. Mm-hmm. And then we show them how to become a teacher and then we put them into teaching. But they're 21 when they can finally start teaching. Mm-hmm. And they still went to high school or are teaching in the high school with kids that were in their classes
Yes.
just 3 years ago.
Yes.
And I think you're asking for a lot of problems with that.
Gotcha.
I think you're asking them to become an adult without ever throwing them into the adult world.
Yes.
You're literally just keeping them in the same safe space and not telling them, hey, there's consequences. You can't cut off an ankle bracelet and go out with a 15-year-old.
No.
You could have when you were in school and you were 17.
Yes.
Now you are 21.
Yes.
And you had to have learned a lot of lessons in that short amount of time.
Now you're both going to jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't
That's
know.
baffling, though.
A lot of time, and I'm saying this because I Google and I look up teacher. And when I see a lot of these things that happen like this, they're 21, 22, 21, 22, 23. And a lot of them are in their own hometowns and they're in their own schools and they went to school there and then they became a teacher or a coach there and they're not out of the student mentality.
I was going to say, it's hard for them to draw that line.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not your peer. I
went to a different city, so I knew no one.
Yes.
I didn't even know the school. I still don't know the school, to be honest with you. I taught there for a year, and I have no idea where. People were like, we're in the lunchroom. I'm like, I don't know where that is.
I don't know that. Yeah.
You know.
Where's
but
that?
I didn't have the comfort level when I was 21 to be a 21-year-old. Mm-hmm. I was like, I have to be a grown-up. I'm thrown into a grown-up situation.
Yeah.
I just really worry about these grow your own initiatives where they're not forced into a grown-up situation, into the unknown, into something they're not comfortable with.
Well,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Okay.
Well, I know we can't do it now. We don't have time, but I would love for us to have a conversation on the podcast about the differences and the lines and the, not barriers, but the, what do you call that? Parameters, I guess you'd say.
Sure. Boundaries?
Boundaries. Yes, that's where I'm looking. What would be the boundaries that you'd have to set up as a teacher when you're trying to communicate, trying to find some common ground with students and help them, but still maintaining, I'm a teacher, a figure of authority, not, I can't be your friend.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of teachers that think you're just their friend. You know, there were teachers that I know that taught high school, and I would see the kids come down the hall and just hug them and talk about personal things.
I wonder about that.
And I absolutely thought that, hey, that's great that you're, really able to connect with this student, but you push the limits because you can't discipline them.
No.
You're their friend now.
Yeah.
And now they take it personal.
Yes.
Not as hey, it's my job to keep you on track. Mm-hmm. Now it's come on, we're homies, we're friends. And I've seen, to be honest with you, I've seen students react like that in the hallway where a teacher goes to discipline them and they act like they're friends with another teacher. It's like, no, I know such and such and I'm cool. It's fine. It's cool. She's cool with it. And I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We have boundaries, like you said.
Yeah. So I wonder that one day we can have a conversation about that because as a parent, I have my own ideas when I would see it happening with my own kids.
All right.
Yeah.
Now this next one is a part-time teacher was arrested on drug charges at a Tennessee elementary school. It was a part-time teacher that apparently was arrested due to a canine dog in the car parking lot that had sniffed out 2 drugs that were in her car. And the two drugs, one of them is medical marijuana, and we see it all over the place.
Okay.
The other one a little bit more stronger, the powdery substance. And so, anyways, they found her inside the class, and they arrested her. She's been suspended without pay. Now, here's the problem that I have with this one. I don't like that she had this in her car. I think it's a terrible thing to do, especially if she's doing these drugs before she goes into the classroom.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. That said, I completely disagree with having drug sniffing dogs go through, or any dogs go through, the teacher parking lot. I just don't like that.
But why?
Because they're teachers.
Okay, well.
There's some teachers that do have medical cards.
Yes.
And so what the dog's going to sniff around and pick up on a medical car? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I would have friends of mine, friends that that use drugs.
Yes.
And sometimes they would have gotten into my car and they would have had them on them. And I have gotten that call the next day. Hey, bro, I think I left something. And I go, oh, yeah, sure. Well, if the dog had gone through, then you find it and you go, oh, you're in a lot of trouble. I hate the idea that we're trying to catch teachers. I hate that. Is there a suspicion in the classroom? Okay. Is she acting funny? Great. Take the dog to her car and sniff around.
Gotcha.
But to just go through and try to catch teachers, I think, is the wrong way to do that. That's maybe my own opinion.
But you're basically saying snitches.
Snitches.
You don't like snitches. Let me just offer a counterpoint. Play devil's advocate. Okay. Right.
Go ahead. Just kidding.
Do you have the phone number of that guy you play golf with? Anyway.
You already have his number. He said he knows you very well. He's a big fan.
No, I would say this. If safety is something that you want as a parent out of your kid's teacher, you're going to want to know if they're doing drugs.
Yeah.
You are going to want to know if they could possibly put your kid's safety in danger. So I can't say that I disagree with them checking teachers' cars.
But the cars. Send them through the class. I've seen dogs come up and down the row in the classroom. Send them through the class. Go into the car. Some teachers get off work, and especially in states where it's legal, they get off work and they just need something to relax to.
Yes.
And they need it there.
Well,
some have a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, some teachers cry in their car.
They do.
And some
hotbox it.
Yes.
But I think that there's a stigma around that that's wrong. And this is the thing. I always talk about this. And to be perfectly honest with my viewers and listeners, I don't smoke weed.
Okay.
Everybody thinks that I'm like, he supports this. No, I just support the autonomy
of
of being allowed to do it.
Shaggy. That's why.
I know. I just support people being allowed to do it. I don't think that it's a bad thing. I know some people that function very well on it and need it, and medically they're really in need of it.
Well, we just have that negative stigma of weed for a long time.
We have it.
And that's why people still have it, especially a lot of older people who grew up and they've been taught that it's evil, but it is not. There's a lot of medical benefits to it.
Yeah, but I disagree with let's go see if the teachers have it in their car.
Gotcha. So
to me, that just, if it's in the car, it's not in the classroom.
Gotcha.
And if you have suspicions, go around to the classes, just look at the teachers. Hey, that one looks a little glossy-eyed. Okay. That kind of suspicion, all right, I get it.
Not everybody.
Yeah, but just to go in general, let's go find and punish and come on.
Gotcha.
Come on.
I don't know if I can agree with that.
I know you can't, and that's okay. I don't want you to agree with me on everything.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. I am. So
there you go.
I kid. Everybody thinks I'm like this big ball of ego, and I'm not.
You're not.
What's so funny
I know you for real.
Before I get into this last thing, this is not Teachers in the News. The last thing we're going to talk about. I posted a picture online of me and Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
And I made up some wild story. I said, here he was, a struggling actor.
Yeah.
I paid $20, gave him some gas money, and he probably landed the role of his dreams, all thanks to me.
That's right.
And I like to think that my 700 followers I had at the time helped boost his career.
They did.
And it was clearly sarcasm.
I saw that.
Do you realize 15,000 people liked the photo, and about 400 of them commented underneath and go, You're full of ego. Look at you. You think you made Pedro? Pedro wouldn't wipe his feet at your house. Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, That's the joke.
I'm joking.
I'm nothing to Pedro.
Yeah.
And it's a joke.
Yes.
And it was so funny because the comments were just hysterical.
Yeah.
Because there's people that are outraged and there's people that go, that's so funny.
Absolutely.
And then there's the ones that are outraged and the people that go, that's so funny, comment underneath of them and go, I hate you. And then it's, I hate you. And it's and people arguing and I'm just sitting there like, engagement.
Yeah. Activated.
Yes. Yes. Put my photo on timelines.
Mr. Burns, it's working. Yes, Smithers. There you go.
All right. This last thing that I want to talk about, this is on Cracked. It's the 10 funniest pranks played on teachers.
Oh, this is good.
Did you ever have a prank played when you were in school? Did you ever play a prank on a teacher?
I did not because statute of limitations are not up yet. But I might have witnessed some things.
Yeah, I never had a prank played on me that I remember, mainly because I'm 6'6", 270 pounds, and they didn't mess with me.
Gotcha.
Often.
I understood. Well, I will say this. Did you know, let's say you were in an actual home ec class where they would have the doll and they would teach kids how to change diapers. You know, you can replace the actual Johnson & Johnson's baby powder with itching powder.
Oh.
And that creates tons of fun.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So these are some of the top pranks that Cracked was able to pull off. I thought some of them were very good. Some of them are a bit crude.
Much? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Some students brought in 100 cans of Barbasol and froze them and then punctured them. The students broke into the high school at night, left all 100 cans of shaving cream in a single teacher's room. They said that the foam was waist deep. That's brilliant.
I was going to say.
Brilliant.
Yes, brilliant. That is genius. Let me just explain that to
Freeze
people
the Barbasol.
who may not understand what just happened. You freeze shaving cream.
Yep.
You puncture it. When it thaws, that pressure is going to create all the foam to shoot out of that can.
Yeah.
And it's just a ticking time bomb. It's just like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Waist deep.
That's hysterical.
That is funny.
This one, we had a math teacher who was hopeless, and the student needed constant supervision. When the teacher wasn't looking, he hid in the cupboard next to his desk. When the teacher noticed that he was gone, she panicked, started looking around the whole school, and then when all the teachers were out looking for him, the student came out of the cupboard and sat at his desk, acting as if he'd been there all along. And they were furious when they got back. I hid in the cupboard.
Okay, that would be terrifying.
That would be terrifying as a teacher.
Yeah, that'd be. I lost a kid. Yeah.
Now this one, man, oh man, I feel so bad for this teacher, but if it was me, I would crack up, okay? There was a geography teacher who was so excited about geography, but so disappointed that no students shared his enthusiasm. One day, a kid put up his hand out of the blue and goes, actually, where is China? And the teacher rushed over to the blackboard, reaches up, pulls down the map of the world, and quickly notices that when he points to China, there's a picture of a naked chick straight out of a graphic magazine. And for a few seconds, the entire class was very interested in geography.
Oh, man, that's both horrible and a good prank.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This one I've seen stuff like this. When my dad was in high school, he and a bunch of his friends took 50 desks, stacked them in the school pool, and then pushed a teacher's car into it. Then they took the desks away, excluding the ones that were actually standing up the car. And the next morning, no one could figure out what happened or how they got there. So they put all the desks in,
Yes.
drove it in on top of the desks,
Yes.
moved all the desks out except for the ones that it was on top of.
That's horrific.
Yeah. Now, when I was in college, I did something similar. There was a basketball player that had a small, like, Geo Metro.
Okay.
And me and, like, all the big guys on the team, we went out after practice to his car and picked up his car. And we put it directly between two palm trees that exactly fit the length of his car. And we just placed it there. And then we left. I don't know how he got it out. I don't know how he got it out.
What school is this at? What
I was at
state?
Flagler College.
So if you go to Flagler Beach, everybody, there's a Geo Metro.
Just sitting there between two, like it needs a hammock, you know?
It's funny. If you see the car, then you get the SpongeBob voiceover. 25 years later. He's still there.
This is a good one, but you couldn't do it anymore. This is somebody said that their dad once told me that him and his best friend snuck into a typing classroom before class, an actual typing class, like typewriters, and then put roll caps like the ones you see under the cap pistols under the typewriter ribbons, and so when the class started and they started typing, it was pop, 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 pop.
Funny.
I think that's hysterical.
Oh my, that's hilarious.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Another one says, everyone organized themselves to fall down at the exact same time during the exam, and the look on the teacher's face was priceless. Like the whole class just collapses. It's like,
oh no, am I next?
Yeah, right. And then a teacher took a cell phone from a student, opened the ceiling tile, and tossed the phone in so that it was above the neighboring classroom. Then all day, people would call the phone, and the teacher next door went insane trying to find out where the noise was coming from.
That's funny. What if you guys hear ringing?
Now, this one, I've had a friend that could do this, and man, did it annoy me. It says, I can make the water droplet sound by flicking my cheek. I did this to my history teacher throughout the year. He never knew it was me, and he was losing his mind. I had a friend who used to...
And it sounded like that and water drop.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. That you just sit there, you're like, what is that? What is that? Yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, a student brought in a massive watermelon, dumped it on a teacher's desk, and said they were out of apples. I think that's hysterical.
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see here. And then I'll do one more. In 8th grade, we decided to scoot our tables an inch or so backwards every time she turned her back to us, the teacher. She didn't notice until the back row hit their desks on the back of the room, and it all started spilling on the sides. The best part of it is that she kept walking further and further towards the math book in the front of the room.
Okay, that's funny.
That's hysterical to me. Good. Yeah. So, oh man. And then I'll just do one more. One more. My whole 11th grade class conspired against our math teacher. Our favorite game was to have one person hum very low, but just loud enough to be irritating. Teacher would get so infuriated, but as soon as he accused one student of humming, another would pick it up seamlessly, and the whole class denied that we could hear anything. That's a good one.
That's a
smart.
Great one.
So take that one and run with it. Do it and film it, and you'll probably have a viral video.
Wait. Let's make sure we tell people we are not condoning that you do any of this.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. We need this job.
All right. James, how can people find you, my friend?
Okay, you guys can get in touch with me the same way you guys have been doing it. And thank you so much for following me. James Yon, comedian on Facebook and on Instagram. I got a lot of more followers, man. I'm over 7,000 finally. Thank you guys so much for making that happen. I can't wait to get to 10 grand.
Yeah, 10,000, not 10 grand.
Okay, yeah, 10 grand. No, I really want.
You just are cashing it out in your mind
already. I would like
already?
to get 10 grand. Yes.
Okay. DevinComedy.com for the upcoming tour dates, and obviously Devin Comedy on TikTok, Devin Siebold on the other platforms. Thank you all so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. Obviously, if you're on trash YouTube, we really appreciate you.
I got a surprise for you.
What's that?
I brought in a drug-sniffing dog.
I got to run to the car real quick, so we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that. But us suggested things. That's us. Crying in My Car. Devin Siebold, James Yon, bored teachers. Watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.